when you take time to appreciate everything in your life that you are grateful for, you attract more positive experiences, right? You attract more joy. You attract abundance, like we've been talking about. And that is what this is all about. You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am Sandy Patterson, your host and certified life and business coach, and I am so happy you're here today. Now, this is the week of Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving week. I absolutely love the Thanksgiving holiday. Now, I don't necessarily like Thanksgiving food. Like, I know some people are really into like the turkey and the gravy and the stuffing and all that stuff. I'm not a big fan. And I have this thing about my food touching. I'm like a 5-year-old. I do not like my food to touch. So Thanksgiving, I feel like it's just all about the food. But aside from that little tangent, I love Thanksgiving because it is a holiday just about being together. It is not about presents. It's not about anything other than being together and being thankful for each other, being thankful, having some time to reflect and to just be together and have fun. And that is why it is my favorite holiday. I love spending time with my family. Obviously, I just love everything about it except the food. But other than that, we're all good. And I couldn't let this week pass without talking about gratitude, right? I know everybody's talking about gratitude this week, and really, we should be talking about gratitude all the time. But I wanted to make sure that you knew, number one, how grateful I am for you for setting aside some time today and at any other time that you set aside time to listen to this podcast and just listen to me rambling. I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate and am so grateful for all of the connections that this podcast has brought. I have met some of the most incredible people. I've collaborated with some of the most incredible people. I've met some amazing coaches through this podcast, some just straight up amazing humans. So I'm so grateful for that. And that is really why I do this. So thank you. Now, like I said, I think today I wanted to talk about gratitude, obviously, but also how gratitude is tied to abundance. Now, what is abundance? So abundance is the idea that there is plenty, there is enough. We can think about abundance in so many different areas of our life. We can think about it in money, in resources, in time, in support, in just really anything. Abundance is this idea that you have plenty, and that when there is plenty, what we end up doing is we end up passing it along, right? We don't feel like we have to hold on so tightly because there's not enough, so we hold on really tightly. This is the opposite of that. Abundance is just really having enough, and then what ends up happening is it's that ripple effect. We share that enough, whether it be time or money or resources or love, whatever it is, we end up sharing it with those around us. And again, we see that ripple effect. Now, the opposite of abundance, I'm sure you know this, is scarcity, right? So scarcity is this idea that there's not enough, or there's only so much of something and there's not enough to go around for everyone. You can see these are two very, they're opposites, right? They're polar opposites. And you can see as far as your mindset goes, showing up from these two different places is going to be very, very different. So if you are showing up in your daily life from a place of abundance and you have plenty of everything that you need, you're going to show up very differently than if you're showing up from a place of scarcity, which is a place of not enough, not having enough. And I like to think about scarcity as like not having enough and like holding everything really tightly and really close to you, like not showing your cards, being really, just holding on really, really tight. Okay. So you can probably imagine that I think most of us would probably prefer to show up from a place of abundance, right? This idea that we have plenty, we have enough, there's plenty to go around, and I want to share this with everyone around me. I know for me, I would much rather show up from a place of abundance than scarcity. And I have very much so over the last year done a lot of work on this idea of scarcity. And I actually didn't realize this, but I was coming at a lot of things in my life from a place of scarcity for a long time. And I didn't realize this until I really started to dig in. And a lot of these things for me stemmed from being a teacher for 14 years. And I think in teaching, there's never enough of anything in teaching. There's never enough time. There is never enough money. There's never enough resources. There's never enough support. So from those things, they kind of trickled over into other areas of my life. And I was just operating from this place of scarcity, right? Like you hold on to what you have and you don't let go because you don't know if there's enough to go around. You don't know if there's enough, if you'll ever have this again. You'll never have this, whatever it is. And so I realized that a lot of things in my life, I was operating from that place of scarcity. And it was not a place that I wanted to be because it was impacting a lot of different things. So I'll give you an example. So here's a perfect example. And I hear this a lot from clients who are in the beginning phases of building their businesses. And it's this idea that like, there's not enough money. I'm not making any money and it's really, really hard to make money and there's not enough to go around. And I don't know if I'll ever have another client again, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to, hit my income goal this month because there's just not enough money. So again, you can see you're going to show up from a very different place when you're feeling like there's not enough money. It's that place of like desperation and like, I need this versus abundance. And the opposite of that would be, well, there's lots of money to make. Let me get creative about how I can meet my income goal this month. I know that I can do this. I know that there's a way. There's plenty of money out there. There's always money flowing. So how can I get creative and figure out how to make some of that money this month to meet my goal? Another example of this as far as scarcity, and this will probably relate a lot of you will probably be able to relate to this. This is not enough time. So time scarcity. There's never enough time to do everything that I want. I never have enough time. So I always feel like I'm rushing through things really, really fast. And I'm just zooming through one thing to get to the next thing. And this is actually really common for a lot of women because it just really does feel like there's not enough time. But what if we shift that and we shift it into that place of abundance, right? And you're probably like, well, what the heck? How do I even do that? Well, the place of abundance would be there's enough time for everything that matters. Take a second to just think about that. I have enough time for what matters the most to me. That for me was a game changer because it forced me to look at my priorities and how I was spending my time, right? Well, am I doing things like, do I even want to be doing? Or am I just doing things again to just rush through them and get to the next thing? And, it's hard because it's mindset work, right? It's all the shift in perspective and your mindset can change everything. And that's why I talk about it so much. And I'm all the time, I'm like, your mindset, but it is so, so true. And it will impact every single area of your life, your job, your business, your family, your relationship with yourself or your partner. I mean, it trickles into everything. So moral of this part of the story is that we want to come from a place of abundance. We want to have an abundance mindset, and we want to come from that place where we feel like, and we know, we understand, we believe that there is plenty. There's plenty, and we want to pass it along. We want to share this. So How are we connecting this to gratitude? Well, gratitude has a direct connection to abundance, right? When we can practice gratitude, even in the moments when it's really, really difficult, and trust me, I get it. Like there are moments when you're just like, ugh, this sucks. If you can pull something out of that little tiny thing or whatever it is, there's always something to be thankful for. If you can pull and practice gratitude, you start to see the world with a very, very different lens because you're focusing on abundance, right? You're focusing on what you do have, not what you don't have. And in those moments when it's difficult to find something to be thankful for, I'm going to guess, you're probably operating in a scarcity mindset just in that moment. So if you can take a second and just think of all of the things that you're grateful for. And I know this sounds so cliche. And like I said, I don't know why do we only talk about this in November around Thanksgiving? We should be talking about this all the time, and we should be practicing this all the time. And I really do this. So I'm here to remind you that you can do it too. And it's not hard. It's simple, it's easy, and it can lead to that feeling of abundance, right? And when we're grateful, even when something really crappy happens or seems to happen to us or around us, there is always a lesson. You cannot tell me that something crappy has not happened to you and there was a lesson in it. There was a lesson in there for you to learn. And if you're resisting that and you're thinking, no, this is just a crappy thing that happened, there's something in there. Keep digging. There is a lesson and there is something to be grateful for. And when we can shift our focus towards gratitude, it literally will bring that immediate feeling of happiness and joy and abundance. So I'm going to give you just a couple little things to walk away with this week, today, forever, to help remind you how important it is to recognize and practice gratitude, right? And the other piece of this too, and I know that you know this, when you take time to appreciate everything in your life that you are grateful for, you attract more positive experiences, right? You attract more joy. You attract abundance, like we've been talking about. And that is what this is all about. Now, here are a couple ideas for you. You can take them, you can leave them. I say take them because then again, we're just working from that place of gratitude and abundance, and we pass it on to those around us. And that's what this is all about. So this is my first idea. Okay. So I was talking with one of my coaches, and I'll make a really long story short. I came to realize that, well, I didn't realize this because I knew this. I've known this all along, but I literally feel like the luckiest person in the entire world. And I've always felt like that. I've always felt just really, really lucky. And that I'm just very, very I don't even know what the word is, lucky. I guess lucky is not a great word though, because I work for all of the things that I feel grateful for. But I just feel like I'm really lucky and I have everything in my life that I have ever wanted. And so to remind me of that, I purchased a necklace, and this necklace is really special to me. It's a circle pendant, and it has this little almost like a pearl thing in it, in the center of it. And when you touch it, you can feel that pearl thing kind of sticking up. And it's really what's the word I'm looking for? It's textured. The necklace is textured. So I can actually reach down and feel it and touch it. And every time that I wear this particular necklace, and every time I touch this necklace, and every time I even look at it, I am reminded that I am the luckiest girl in the whole world because I have everything I ever wanted. I have everything I ever wanted because I've worked really hard for all of these things. So it's just a reminder for me to practice that gratitude and to remind myself in those moments when I'm like, oh, this sucks or whatever it is, or those moments I'm like, wait, come back to this. And I can even feel it. I'm not wearing the necklace right now, but I can actually feel it in my hands. It's that physical reminder and that textual reminder that I'm grateful for so many beautiful things in my life. And it puts me again in that place of abundance. I'm just happy, thinking about this necklace and thinking about those thoughts. So if you can, find something that you can, a physical token of your gratitude, right? Something that you can touch, that you can feel, that will remind you of all of the things in your life that you are grateful for. Now, the next thing you can do is you can appreciate everything. So I know when I have days when I'm like in a funk or I'm like down or whatever, I will just start to shift that and be like, okay, I'm grateful for these shoes I'm putting on. I am grateful for these socks that I'm putting on. I'm grateful that I am washing my hands in warm water. I'm grateful I have soap to wash my hands with. I'm grateful that I have a house that has a sink that has warm water, that has soap to wash my hands in. So you can kind of see that little trail once you start to just appreciate every tiny little thing. Like if you literally just look around and be like, whoa, I'm grateful for this. Like I'm looking in my office right now. I'm like, oh, I see that game Sorry. I'm grateful for that game Sorry because it gives me great times with my boys and we love to play Sorry. Just look around, like see what you can find around you. What can you touch? What are you grateful for? Appreciate it and get into that space, right? Now, third idea is to write it down. There's one thing to just think about it and say what we're grateful for, but I highly suggest writing it down. This is the coolest thing. So every day over the course of the year, our family will write down at the dinner table. We have like a stack of Post-its and then a little jar. And so what we would do is we would write down every day something that we are thankful for. And we do it as a family. So it's just one Post-it. And it could be something super, super simple. Like I'm grateful that we got to go to the park today, or I'm grateful that the boys got to go to school today, or we're grateful that, we have this dinner, this meal to eat, whatever it is. And what ended up happening is we have this whole jar now of things that we are grateful for. And so we pull it out every once in a while and just be like, let's read some of the things in here. And it's so fun to go back and to realize, and a lot of the things too are experiences. So like, we are so grateful that we got to do this with our family, or we got to go to the zoo with our family today, or whatever. We got to go to the pumpkin patch together. And that was so much fun. So it's almost like a scrapbook-ish jar, not really a scrapbook, but a living, breathing thing with all of the things that we are grateful for. And so then in those moments when we're feeling like kind of down or we're kind of grouchy or whatever, or blah, 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 we can pull that out. And it's just fun. Even when we're not down and grouchy, we still pull it out and be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's cool to look back and to open those up and to be reminded of the experiences that you're grateful for and all of the things that we're thankful for as a family. So next one, number 4, is kill them with kindness. Now, I know sometimes we have days where people are just, it seems like people are out to make us mad, right? I get it. But my thing is always, always kill them with kindness. So when people are, and you can tell like when people are in a bad mood and then they take it out on you, right? My thing is always, always, always to just be extra super kind to them. And it works like magic. It either makes them even more mad and then makes them like go away, or it helps them get out of that grouchy place. So practicing gratitude and sharing that good mood, that joy, that kindness, even when you don't feel like it, can do wonders for you and for your mood. And I always just say that, kill them with kindness. Okay. And then the last one I have for you today to practice gratitude and practice abundance is before bed to just do an abundance check. So you could write this down too. I talked about writing it down. You could journal. I always recommend journaling. It's so cool. I love journaling because you get to go back and like see all of the things that you wrote about, or the things that you were working through, or the things that were important to you in that moment. It's like going back to your middle school diary, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is too cool, too funny. So before bed, we always try to do an abundance check. So this is just a really quick check-in with myself about all of the things that I am so thankful for and so grateful for. And then setting the intentions too for the next day, just periodically checking in with yourself and reminding your brain, reminding your mind, getting into the habit of coming from a place of gratitude and abundance is so, so important. So to wrap up those 5 things to do that you can try out today, tomorrow, this week, on Thanksgiving, for the rest of your life, I don't know, you can get a physical token just to remind you of all of the things in your life that you're grateful for. Start to appreciate every tiny little thing. everything, even if it doesn't seem important, be thankful for it. Write it down. So journaling, writing on Post-its, creating a jar, write it down and revisit it every so often. Revisit the things that you are grateful for and are thankful for. Kill them with kindness and do a very quick abundance check before bed, just reminding your brain to be looking for the things that it's grateful for. It is a practice. As humans, we have a natural tendency to look at the negative stuff, right? To look at the problems, to look at the things that we don't have enough of. But when we can start to shift our brains and shift our minds to focus on the good stuff, focus on the abundance, focus on the gratitude, that can do major, major shifts overall. So I hope you have the very best Thanksgiving. You share it with people that you love, people that bring you so much joy. And I will see you for the next episode next week. All right, bye you guys. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.